for us. Good morning, Dr. Laura.
Hey, good morning, Ashley.
Good to see you. And so, Dr. Laura, what can you tell us about this plea deal that Derek Chauvin, his attorney, tried to negotiate with former attorney General William Barr?
Yes, so essentially, Derek Chauvin believed that the case against him was so devastating that he agreed to plead guilty to third-degree murder. And what's interesting about this deal is part of the deal that he had initially made, or rather his attorney, is he was willing to go to federal prison for more than 10 years. Now, local officials at this time were dealing with the protests and the aftermath of the George Floyd killing. And so they were very eager to kind of get this over with in a sense. And so they actually had a conference already scheduled, Ashley, to announce this plea deal. And so none of us, of course, knew all of this was going on behind the scenes.
Wow. And what exactly did the plea deal, fall through, or why did it exactly fall through?
Well, surprisingly, at the time, Will Barr, as we know, was the acting attorney general, and he actually rejected the plea deal or the arrangement at the last minute. And the reason he had the power to do that is the plea deal was contingent upon Derek Chauvin actually serving his time in a federal prison. And so since he asked to serve in a federal prison, another part of that deal was also asking for a guarantee that he would not face any federal civil rights charges. And essentially, Ashley, Attorney General Barr said he was concerned about the possible backlash, right, with the sentence perhaps being too lenient and not allowing the time for a full investigation. And so what's so powerful about that is it really shows that the protests were working. They were influencing decisions that were being made by law enforcement. They did need a full investigation. And I think people would have been outraged if they felt like Derek Chauvin, or rather George Floyd, didn't get his day in court. And so I think that was a really smart move on the part of Attorney General Barr.
Mm. And do you think the news of this plea deal may potentially impact the criminal case against the officer, which goes to trial next month, actually?
Absolutely. You have to remember that jury selection rather, until March 8th. And so potential jurors are hearing about this plea deal that went south. And what that implies is, well, surely, was he guilty? Did he intend to kill George Floyd, as we all saw in that video? The fact that he was willing to plead guilty to third-degree murder. And so I think it's going to be hurtful to his case for those reasons, because there's an adverse inference of guilt. And so I think it's going to hurt him more than it's going to help him.
Mm. If the trial next month results in a conviction, how much prison time could the Derek Chauvin be facing?
It's pretty high, Ashley. For the Minnesota statute for second-degree murder, he can serve up to 40 years. Now, we have to keep in mind all judges have a range in terms of sentencing guidelines, and typically they're going to look at past criminal history, past misconduct, cases of excessive use of force. People are guessing that if convicted, he'll receive about 15 to 20 years in prison. So, again, many people feel like that's not enough because you can't get George Floyd back, but that is the way our system is set up. So we'll just have to see if the hands of justice deal out a fair result.
Thank you so much, Dr. Laura McNeal, for clearing that up for us. I'm sure we'll speak to you soon as this case continues to go on.